welcome to another episode on the podcast, the Time Out for Weight Loss podcast. On this podcast, we take a different perspective, a different look to the health and wellness journey, looking at your success from different angles and different aspects. Today, I am super excited to have a guest with me. This guest is absolutely fantastic. I've been following her personal journey for quite a few years, and I know you are going to be totally inspired by her journey, how she balances her weight loss journey with being a mum, being a businesswoman, being a creative, and also her fitness journey in the gym. So without further ado, let me welcome my guest, the fabulous Carolynn Conde. Welcome, Carolynn. How are you?
Hi. I'm very good, thank you. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Carolynn, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. I'm super excited just to dive in and hear your story, because I know that it's going to be a really fabulous one. And through this podcast, we're going to get to know you a little bit more. So, Carolynn, to start, tell us about yourself. Anything you want to share about who you are?
I am first and foremost, I am a mum. I am a full-time mummy to a very beautiful and very sassy 7-year-old little girl. I'm also a wife to my amazing husband, who is currently actually running the marathon down in Newcastle today. Actually, that's what he's doing. So he left at 5 o'clock this morning. He left to go and do that this morning. And I promote health and well-being within myself, within my work, and I also design and create jewellery in my spare time, and I'm also a weightlifter. So a bit of a combination of everything in there.
Amazing. I love that. So tell us, Carolynn, where does your wellness and weight loss journey begin?
To be honest, it actually started when I was 19 initially. I wanted to enroll in the Royal Navy, and I had to basically be physically fit, passed all my exams, and I was very physically fit. I used to go to the gym first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. and I loved it. I thought it was great. I had such a fantastic outlook, but I couldn't run on the treadmill, which is what I needed to do. I loathe the treadmill, I'm not going to lie. I feel very restricted in it, and I couldn't pass. So unfortunately, that sent me into a downward spiral, and my comforter was food. So I ate quite a lot. I became a secret eater, and unfortunately the weight went on quite a lot, quite quickly. And this lasted till probably I was mid-20s. Then I met my husband, or husband-to-be, obviously, and moved to Glasgow. And I hate saying this word because I don't say it at home. It's not a word we say. But I felt like I was the fat friend. And I always wore jeans with a nice top and would do my hair and makeup. But I just didn't feel like one of the pretty girls, basically. So even though I was happy in my relationship with my partner, I just didn't feel like I fitted in. So I used moving to Glasgow as obviously the reason, and I joined a local club. And from there, my weight loss journey started back again. And I started to find me again, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear you. So just something I want to just pick up on, secret eating. Yeah, because I totally identify with that. What were some of your traits and how did you move past that?
Oh, I was very clever. I lived on my own, but I would still eat really good, healthy meals. I was brought up in the countryside, and my mum is an amazing cook and amazing baker. And we didn't have takeaways, so we would have the odd turkey dinosaurs naturally because my mum couldn't be bothered sometimes. But my mum would make like chicken and tarragon sauce for dinner and things like that. So naturally, to me, I like good food. So I would always cook healthy meals, but then I would completely sabotage myself. And it wasn't Yeah, I would eat chocolate and crisps, I suppose, like everybody does, but I didn't hide that. I would make butter icing in a mug, and I would just literally sit and eat a mug of butter icing. So when I washed the dishes, even though there was nobody else there, I was hiding it with myself, if that makes sense. I was ashamed of it, so washing it meant that it was done. It was dusted. It didn't
Mm.
happen. There was no evidence. So that was it. So that was my secret eating, was
Wow.
a mug of butter icing.
Wow. Wow. Well,
Mm.
do you know what caused that? What led you to eat secretly?
I was in a really emotionally abusive relationship, actually, and
Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
realise it at the time. Now that I'm 40, I now can see all these things in the past. But it was an emotionally abusive relationship where I was slim to start off with, and my partner at the time, he was 20 stone, so he was an overweight man. He started to lose weight, and the confidence that comes with weight loss obviously started to come to him. But with him being a big massive red flag narcissistic that I now see now, that added on to that and fueled even more. So when I started to put on weight, it was I guess I'm the good looking one in the relationship now, and you lost the weight before, why can't you do it again? And all of these things were triggers to me because my parents divorced when I was 15, which again did prompt weight gain, sorry, because food was the only thing that, again, that I could control. Although I didn't have a weight issue until after the Navy and things like that, because I was young and my metabolism was a lot high, so it was fabulous back then. But I started to put on the weight and I started to be miserable. I was being
Mm.
abused mentally every single day by this person. So my escapism was sat in my flat on my own with my cat and sitting eating butter icing. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what? We see that in so many people across the whole weight loss industry, is that there's some element of almost kind of like self-abuse, you can call that, but it always stems from somewhere. And I think the key is often trying to figure out why we're overeating and why we're a secret eater. But oftentimes what we see is just like trying to tackle it head on, where we need to get to the root and then work from the root up. And the reason I say that is I've been a secret eater myself for years, and
Mm.
I was able to work out where that secret eating came from. And my secret eating was never with healthy stuff, never. It was,
Yeah.
it was always with the sweets and the chocolates and the biscuits. And I worked out that it was the record got stuck in a conversation that I had with my mother when I was about 10 years old around sweets and chocolates, and my mum refusing to give me any more because she saw that I was overweight. And I'd promised
Mm.
myself that as I got older, I would buy myself some sweets and I would just eat them. And that's what I did. And
Yeah.
the shame and the guilt of that messaging coming to me actually is stuck to me. And, as I grew up, became a secret eater. I'd actually refuse food in front of people. The once
Mm-hmm.
I had gone to see my friend, and she offered me this really delicious ham and cheese wrap with a bag of crisps, and it was really nice. And she was like, have another one, have another one. We were all having the second one. I was like, no, one's enough. I left, drove to Tesco's, picked up a pack of wraps, pack of ham, big block of cheese, 6 pack of crisps, and drove at them and ate quite a few, not a lot, but quite a few.
Yeah.
Again, he was not wanting to just say, okay, fine, I'll have another one with everybody else. But the shame and the guilt and the secrecy of having to do it in private. And then it's just getting to the root of that to be able to overcome that. And then again, living on my own, I'd be secret eating like the chocolates and the biscuits and stuff in the packets down the side of the sofa, and you
Yeah.
kind of think that's crazy. I live on my own. What is
Mm-hmm.
what is going on with that? So yeah, I totally understand you when you were saying about being the secret eater. The other thing you said
Yeah.
was that not feeling like the pretty girl in that scenario. How did that impact you?
I think resentment, to be honest, but initially it was resentment. My best friend, who's no longer a friend anymore, she was the size 8, 10, blonde. I'm only blonde now because I'm so grey, it's ridiculous. That's the reason why I'm blonde. But I am naturally dark hair. But I was fed up dyeing it every 2 weeks, so that's why I went to blonde. But she was the blonde, preppy, always wore dresses. And to me, she looked like, at the time, what the definition of really pretty was. But I was young, really young, and very naive back then. Now, the definition of pretty to me is completely different. And I'm so grateful for that, though, because it's given me a whole new perspective. I have an hourglass figure, but I also have muscles and big broad shoulders and everything else. But I absolutely love them. But I think it's also because I've also found a partner that loves me for me. I don't need to be a certain size, shape, or anything. I have that security, that comfort. I don't need to secret eat anymore, because if I want a bar of chocolate, I'm just going to say to him, I am having a bar of chocolate. And he's like, okay, that's fine. Because like you said, if you had just eaten that one wrap, that extra one with your friends, then that would have been it probably done. But because you didn't, you then went and overate and had more of them. And that's the same thing. If I don't have that bar of chocolate, eventually that bar of chocolate's going to become, like a whole entire feast of chocolate. So I'd rather sometimes just have that bar of chocolate, move on from it, and then keep on going. But I think it's the support network. It's having that support that helps you. I think having Olivia has made a huge difference in my life, my daughter, because I don't want her to be the wallflower that I was when I was younger, and I don't want her to have any negative values in her body at all. She's so fit and healthy, and she gets sweeties every day, but she knows that there is a limit in things, and we know that we don't overeat. And she's made me become more confident, because I don't believe in the fake it till you make it, but it kind of is. I had to be super confident. I had to take her swimming when I felt like a beached whale and she was like 6 months old, because it was about her. I wanted her confidence in the water. It wasn't about me, but in turn it helped me at the same time. So
I love that. I love that you were being such an amazing role model for your daughter, and the support network, brilliant. We all need that. We all need that, and you could be yourself. But it's interesting you were saying that your definition of being pretty and beauty has completely changed. And I see when you were talking, I was seeing that you were instilling those values within your daughter about being confident, and building into her all of those healthy habits. Because at the end of the day, visually, it's skin deep, isn't it? But it's, as you say, your definition of beauty and health has changed. And I love that. Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So, Carolyn, on your journey, was there a defining moment? Was there a moment that made you think, "Do you know what? I need to do something about the secret eating, the overeating, and the weight gain"? Tell us about that.
Initially, first step, then I would say that it was moving to Glasgow. I wanted to make new friends. I didn't want to be seen as, again, I was still in my 20s, so I was still quite naive at that point. I didn't want to be seen as the fat friend and things like that. So I obviously went to, like I said, to a club, and I lost 4 stone in a year. Built up my confidence, felt really good, started to wear like dresses that really complemented my figure. Like, I felt fantastic for the first time in a long time, and it felt so good. And then obviously I got married and we fell pregnant 5 months after, which was planned because we were getting older at this point. And then I had a girl, and I think that was a defining moment for me. I didn't also want to be the fat mum at the gate, which again is, I hate saying that, because I still think that's a really negative, nasty comment. But my thought process back then was I didn't want to be the fat mum at the gate. I didn't want my daughter to be picked on because of me. So I thought I need to give her the best chance and opportunity in her life. So I need to do something about it. So that was the second sort of defining moment for me, was that I wanted her to happy and confident and, you know, in her own self. And again, like you said, I wanted to be that role model, although I didn't necessarily feel it at the time, because at the time, you know, I put all the weight back on. I just had a baby. I actually had postnatal depression, so I was pretty miserable, to be honest, in the first year of Olivia's life. Not all the time, but there were just a few moments that really were not at the best. And I had to change that because I didn't want my life to be like that. So that's what it was for me, was changing for that aspect.
Right. Love that. Hi guys, it's that time of the podcast to give a special shout out to our supporters. There are different ways to support the channel, either via YouTube at Time Out with Angela or Patreon Time Out with Angela. Our memberships start from just $1.99, and we also have a $4.99 membership. So feel free to nip over there and check out what is included. So there's some great benefits. Also, you may choose to buy us a coffee or make a donation via PayPal. Any donation that you make will be put to good use. It will be used to invest in the channel via equipment and software so that we can improve the quality of our shows. So this week, there's 3 people that deserve a huge shout out. So a huge shout out goes out to Diane, Horatio, and to Tony, staunch supporters of our podcast, and I appreciate you. So guys, if you would like a shout out on the channel, then feel free to head over and support the channel. It's time to get back to the podcast. So you got your defining moment. So how did you start your weight loss journey at that point? Did you join a club?
Yes, so went back to the club that I'd gone to beforehand because it was a safe space for me. I knew that nobody would say, oh, you know, you put on the weight again or whatever. There was never they were my people that I could feel comfortable with. So I went back there, and I didn't have an awful lot of time because obviously I'd had a baby, and you know, you don't have a lot of time initially. So what I used to do was I used to go out running in the mornings before my husband would leave for work. And I used to run. I did the Couch to 5K, which was the app. Obviously, it's free. So I did the Couch to 5K. Now, I live in the south side of Glasgow, which sometimes doesn't get the best of reputations. So my thought process was, if I ran around the police station like 3 times, if I didn't return for a 3rd time, then they knew something had happened. So that's what I used to do. And I ran the same loop, and I enjoyed it, and it was great. I used to listen to podcasts, or I would listen to music and different things. But then it started to get dark, and I didn't want to stop the activity, but I didn't feel safe being a female and running outside. And we're talking 5 o'clock in the morning. It was early. It wasn't like 8 in the morning. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. So I really didn't feel safe. So I joined my local gym, and I just started going there. I had no clue what I was doing. Started with obviously just like the treadmill, the rowing machine, and these things that I do still enjoy, but they don't give me the same sort of hit as I do with the weightlifting. And it was from there that the weightlifting came. 5 in the morning, there's not very many people that go. It's the same people. So I made friends with the 2 of the biggest boys you could find. And I love them, absolutely love them. So Robbie and Tony, and Robbie I think is now 67 and built like the Clyde shipyard. This guy is just amazing, and he's there every morning at 5 a.m. And Tony, so he was my gym dad, and Tony was like my gym husband, bless him. But the same age as me, and this boy could lift, and I mean massive weights. This guy was just amazing. So I became friends with them naturally, because that's what you do. So I became friends with them, and then I started to train with them. And before you know it, Tony got jealous that I was being able to push 80 kilos in the box along which is what he was pushing. And it was good fun. And that's where it started. That was it. That was my...
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you said that you joined a group, your community. Was that a slimming club?
Yes. So it was Weight Watchers that I joined.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you do with when you rejoined Weight Watchers? Did the plan go for you? Were you seeing success?
Not initially, and I think that's because I had postnatal depression.
Okay.
In all honesty, first time round, yes, I got, this 4 stone off in a year. I would have a chippy every Wednesday, got weighed every Thursday, and I still lost 4 stone in a year. It was brilliant. It worked. It was fantastic. Second time round, it took me a long time to get into it because, in all honesty, as much as I wanted to lose weight, I think I still had the whole self-doubts in the back of my head. My mindset was not in the right place. Then Weight Watchers actually towards the end of that year implied the mindset aspect, that pillar into it. So it wasn't just about food and activity. They added in mindset, and that was the defining click moment for me. That's when everything changed, that it wasn't just about the number on the scales, it was how I felt about that number and how I felt about myself. Then the weight started to come off.
Interesting.
Because in all honesty, I think I went to the class to escape from my husband and to escape from Olivia for an hour. Really, in all honesty, that was just my me time. And if I lost anything, it was a bonus, but I got to get out and be me for an hour in a week, and that was enough, I think, at that time.
Do you know what? I actually love that. I love that because, we know that people join slimming clubs and slimming groups for all sorts of reasons, not always necessary to lose weight, initially. I know when I used to, run my slimming groups, some of the members used to just love coming every week just for a cuppa and a bit of a social. Yeah, it's so important, and especially as you say, you were struggling with postnatal depression. Just having that time for you was so important, which I love. But it's so interesting, Carolyn, that you say that the activity and the food pillar wasn't enough, and you weren't seeing success, but you saw success with the mindset pillar coming in. Tell me a bit more about that, because I'm a massive advocate that we can focus on food as much as we like and activity as much as we like. That is only going to be temporary. But when we shift the mindset, that's what's going to get us over the line. Tell us a bit more about that.
I was actively looking for mindset courses and days and all these different things anyways, alongside with Weight Watchers, because I knew that I didn't want to be on antidepressants and things like that. I didn't want to be on those things. I wanted to be happy for me and not because something was making me happy. I have nothing against, I've been on antidepressants several times throughout my life, and I'm absolutely fine for that. They have a purpose. I just didn't want to be solely reliable on that. So I actually I found this thing called key coaching, and I attended. I said to my husband, I'd really love to go along to the day, please. I think it's going to be really beneficial to me. And he said, yeah, go for it. That's fine. So I went along to the day course, and one of the things that they sort of got us to do was, it was a postcard, and you had to write a love letter to yourself. And it was so nice because you got to write down the things, what you could vision in the future of what you were going to be, what you were doing, how you were, how you felt. I've still got it because they posted them out randomly. So there was one day I got this postcard, and funnily enough, it was a day I wasn't feeling at the best. And I read it, and, it was just so nice to read that actually I can do these things. I am able to do it. I just need to keep focused. I'm actually a key coach now. I actually ended up becoming a key coach because it just meant so much to me. And I've helped quite a few people on one-to-one consultations, actually. It's a lifestyle program. It's not just one specific thing. It's a lifestyle program, and that helped me immensely. But with regards to, like, obviously Weight Watchers as well, the topics around specifically the scales and recognizing that the scales don't define me. For anybody who doesn't know me, I am 14 stone, but I'm also size 10 to 12. 12 in the bottom half because, like I said, I am an hourglass. But I also have, I don't say I have big thighs, I have strong thighs. So my
Love
thighs,
that.
yes, my thighs can lift about 210 kilos, which is about 30 odd stone. So I have very strong thighs. And I am quite muscular. So yes, I'm 14 stone. No, muscle doesn't weigh heavier than fat, as most people will know. It's leaner and denser, so I have burnt fat and I have put on muscle. But if I was to look at the BMI scale, I am classified as obese. I am not in any way, shape, or form. I don't feel I look it. So it's a learning process that the scales don't define you. The number doesn't define you. It's how you feel about it. But this is something that needs to be discussed over and over and over, and not just once.
Do you know what? That is just music to my ears, because sometimes we can just focus so much on that number on the scale,
Yeah,
and not understanding or not recognizing everything else around that number, which is so important. So I love that. So I know that you were doing Weight Watchers, but also added the key coaching in to
yeah.
supplement Weight Watchers, and that's really helped you with the mindset. So tell us a bit more, because I really want to get into this around your weightlifting. So
Yeah.
at what point did you start your weightlifting journey?
With Robbie and Tony, I remember actually the morning Robbie said to me, he says, right, he says, tomorrow morning we're doing legs. He says, you're here tomorrow morning, we're doing legs. I went, right, that's fine. The next morning I woke up really ill and I ended up having COVID. So I couldn't go. That was when COVID at the time was, you couldn't go anywhere. You had to isolate and things. So I was absolutely devastated that I couldn't, because I was so excited. And then I thought, he's going to think I've chickened out. I didn't have his telephone number or anything at the time. And so I ended up phoning up the gym and said, look, can you please tell Robbie that it's not that I don't want to come. It's just I have COVID, but when I'm back, But obviously I had COVID. So then I had to go back down to the bottom level, as it were, because I had to build up my stamina back up again. So then again, I had to wait another couple of months before I could actually start the weightlifting. It was so frustrating because I really wanted to do it. Then I did what I now know is the bro split, which is basically one day legs, one day like chest and back, one day shoulders, it was just and then Friday was the day that we would do the ropes, we would push the block, and we would do the farmer's walk. I love the farmer's walk. That's basically the equivalent of Christmas shopping. You're laden with all the bags. That is basically what the farmer's walk is, but with kettlebells or dumbbells or whatever else instead of. And I loved doing all of that. And it was just great fun because there was the banter, there was the laugh, there was the competition between me and the boys, and it brought out my confidence so much. And I had a moment where I was belittled by a man. I had parked in a space and he didn't want me there because he wanted his van there, and he shouted and abused me, and the police got involved, and I
Wow.
cried. And this was prior to me doing weightlifting. And all I can say is now, that would never happen. Now, that would never happen. The confidence that I've gained from weightlifting, I am 40 and I wear the nice little leggings, and I wear the crop tops, and I go without my makeup on. This is no makeup as well. And I'll go in and I don't care, and I absolutely love it. It is the
I love
best feeling.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness me, I love that. Because we can't put a price on
Mm-hmm.
confidence. We can't measure that on the scales. I love that you were so confident. You won't let people talk to you in a certain way, that you can walk around without no makeup, wear what you want, but also you're instilling that in your daughter as well, which I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. She's really into her fashion just now, but she will wear what she wants to wear, what makes her feel look good, not necessarily what everybody else is wearing. And I absolutely love that. And I am so proud of that, because she will walk with all the confidence in the world. She has these trousers that they're like disco pants. They're flares, and they've a little split up the front, and they've got these little holographic they're little like
Wow.
sticker type things, holographic. And she wore them yesterday. We went to the cinema and she wore them yesterday, and we went into a couple of shops, and every single person was like, "I love your trousers." She's like, "Oh, thanks so much." And she didn't do what we used to do. "Oh, these old things, I've had them for ages." She went, "Thank you so much." And
Oh,
that to me is just, I
amazing.
feel like I've won parenting somewhere. Like, that makes me feel good.
I love that. I love that. So you said that you'd be in the gym every morning at 5 a.m. Are you still
Mm-hmm.
doing that now?
Yes, between 5 and 6 now. My husband got a new job, so I don't need to go in as early, but I'm still in at 6.
Okay.
But 5:30, 6 o'clock, I get up and I'm in, and I go to the gym about 4 or 5 times a week. I swim 3 times a week, and I try my best to get the 10,000 steps. This is not, I mean, there's weeks that I'm so tired, I'll skip a couple of days. This is not like the be all and end all. I recognise I need time to sleep. I recognise that I can't be bothered sometimes. But the majority of the time, 90% of the time, yes, I'm in 4 or 5 times a week and swim 3 times a week as well.
Lovely. And so how do you keep that consistent? Because that sounds, for myself, for a lot of people, I used to be at one point in the gym at 5:30 in the mornings, in the summer. But then as the darker mornings came in the cold and the winter, it was more tempting to stay in my bed. How do you keep that going, Carolyn? I'd love to know your tips.
I love habits and I love repetition. I'm so boring. To be honest, it's investing in really nice gym clothing that you want to wear as well, I think, is one tip. So there's lots of different brands, but I do like the One Are Active ones. They're really nice. They're very complimentary and very comfortable. So I like those. I've got a few of their brand. And I have everything all set the night before at the front door. The alarm is set. And then I have the choice of, do I stay in bed or do I get up and go? And it just depends how I feel. Like I said, some days I will say, no, I'm staying in bed. Investing in a really good de-icer for your car, as well as, that's another key one, or whatever method that you wish to do. Something bigger than a credit card to scrape off any ice is definitely key, because the quicker you can get that car defrosted, then the better. And yeah, it just becomes a habit, to be honest. That's all it is. It's about building up the habit, but it's also recognizing that you've not failed if you decided to stay in bed, but it's just, you had everything there, the intentions were all there, you just pick yourself up the next day and go, right, I'll go in tomorrow instead.
Love that. I love that. So you're committed to your journey, you get yourself organised, everything's planned. Then you get to the gym, you're meeting your gym husband and your gym dad, as you say. How have they supported you on your journey?
I get a hug every morning off my big gym dad.
Love
Which
that.
sounds so daft, but I absolutely love. I mean, he's usually covered in sweat by that point because he's been in for a good half an hour before me. So it's not the nicest of hugs, but I absolutely love it. I miss it if I don't get it sometimes. I get a big hug off of him, and that starts me off. And then if I feel like I'm struggling, I hear a shout, that basically says, keep going, you can do this, get it up off the ground. And I need that. I don't want like the whole, oh, try better next time. I need, like, my dad's very similar to my gym dad, very similar to Robbie. It's like, get it up, you can do it, come on. And I'm like, right. And I like to prove him wrong, so I will lift whatever it is. With my gym husband, when he's in, I'm not going to lie, we have really good banter. To the point, though, that if we're on opposite sides of the gym doing whatever we're doing, we will literally give each other the middle fingers. That's it. We would just catch each other's eye, you lift up the middle finger to each other and a wee wink, and we just keep going. It sounds stupid, but sometimes it's that little thing that makes you go, I need to make sure I'm keeping doing this, because otherwise he'll slag me off for not being able to do it and things like that. And it's just the encouragement. It's what I need.
Yeah.
That's what I need. I need the
And
motivation.
it's the support, knowing that you're going to see them every morning. You've got that community and that bond and that relationship going. I
Yep.
love that. So where does food fit into your journey?
Right. So I home cook everything because that's how I was brought up. So that's all I really kind of know. I think I have every pinch of nom book that's going and every other cookbook that's going, and I will use like the Asda's and Tesco's magazines and all these other ones, and I will look at all the recipes and I tweak it. I've learned obviously through years of being a Weight Watchers that there's nothing you can't have, but sometimes you have to make tweaks. So if it says, use creme fraiche, I'll maybe use the fat-free Greek plain style yogurt instead of. I'll make the swaps. Anything that's quick and easy, then even better. I invested in the big sort of air fryer that I think everybody now over the age of 40 now has. And anything I can just chuck in and it's done in 15 minutes is an absolute bonus. And I love good tasting food. I will not scrimp. Every Monday, my husband Neil and I, we get the Simply Cook, which is the one that you just need to buy the ingredients, but they come with little pots. So Monday, Olivia has her friend round, so they have their own separate dinner. We make them something that they like, homemade pizza, whatever they want. But Neil and I have a really good meal. Like, it starts the week off right. We have homemade pizza every Friday. And I use the 2 ingredients, so the self-raising flour and the fat-free Greek plain style yogurt, equal quantities. Bind that up, and I make pizza base with that. I love ice cream, so I again bought an ice cream maker and I make my own protein ice cream. So I can have ice cream every single weekend, but I know that it's really healthy, it's full of protein. I get protein into every single meal that I possibly can because, again, with the weightlifting, I really need as much protein. I probably eat a lot more than the average person does, but I need that for the weightlifting. But I don't like to stand at the cooker for like 40 minutes at a time. We plan everything in advance, so the whole month's worth of dinners are already pre-planned. And there'll be a couple of nights that I'll make, say, spaghetti bolognese, but I'll make it enough for a family of, 6, for example. So then I have double the quantity, and then it's in the freezer for another night that I don't need to cook. So I know that everything's still homemade.
I love that. Absolutely love that. So planning is absolutely key.
Yes.
Variety. It sounds as though nothing is off the menu with you. You either just adapt it. Yeah, I love that. And one of the questions I did want to ask you was about protein, because there's, all these myths and different concepts going around that if you're in the gym, if you're weightlifting, you need to eat copious amounts of protein. Where do you stand on that?
I wouldn't say copious amounts, because I know if you overeat protein, too much protein then can turn into carbohydrates and things. So you need to be quite mindful of how much protein you're actually having. But I think you need to have a good balance. Protein can be like the foundation of the food. So whether that's chicken or fish or eggs or whatever it is, but then you're adding the other things around alongside it to bulk it up to make it that tasty meal. So it's not just solely eating protein. It might be, for example, I had 2 slices of Danish bread into toast, and I had some scrambled eggs on it, and I put some smoked salmon on it. Really high in protein, but I also had half an avocado mashed on top of that as well as. So I got my carbs, I got my good fats, and I got my protein in that. It was really tasty, really filling, and that kept me going. It then meant that I could have a little packet of crisps alongside with it as well. So it's the foundation of my food. It's not the be all and end all.
Do you enjoy a good smoothie or juice? I know I do. And including smoothies and juices into my meals has made a massive difference to me and has helped me to lose over 131 pounds to date. If you want juices and smoothies that are balanced, that taste good and are easy to make with everyday store cupboard ingredients, then feel free to check out my brand new ebook. My Smoothies and Juices recipe ebook contains 25 of my personal favourite recipes that I use on a regular basis to help me on my weight loss journey. You can download a copy of the ebook over at gumroad.com. It is available to purchase there, and when you purchase it, you will have access to lots of downloadable documents that can support you on your journey. So guys, head over to gumroad.com/timeout with Angela and check out the Smoothies and Juices ebook. I love that. So at the moment, where are you on your journey, Carolyn? Would you say that you're more focused on weight loss, or are you more focused on, your weightlifting and building your strength and getting that, that physique, or a bit of both?
A bit of both, I'll be honest. I think I've learned recently that I'm actually not eating enough. So if you do calories, I definitely don't eat enough calories at the moment. I'm on average about 1,500 calories a day, and I should be eating around about 1,800 calories a day, which is what my personal trainer told me at the gym. With the amount of activity that I do, I actually need to eat more. And I do recognise that you need to have the fuel to burn, otherwise it's not going to be as effective. So I do need to eat more, but that can be something as simple as, if instead of having the fat-free Greek plain style yogurt, I could have like the 5%. It just bulks up the calories, but I'm not necessarily eating much more than what I was already eating, because what I eat keeps me feeling satisfied. And it's eating the right things. I mean, I could easily find the 300 calories in a bar of chocolate, but I know that the bar of chocolate isn't going to be helpful every single day. Every now and then is nice, but not every single day. So at the moment, my strength is good. The muscles are there, but I feel I need to lose some more weight to be able to show off my muscles more, to be able to have more definition. So that's what I'm focusing on, is I would like to have more definition. As much as my dad doesn't approve of that at all, which is quite funny because I get my strength and my physique from my dad. It's big, broad shoulders. Everything else is all for him. But he still has a very old-fashioned viewpoint that women shouldn't have muscles. Okay. And his idea of a size 10 is not what I am. And he's still old-fashioned, and I don't care what his opinion is. And I will happily show and flex my muscles when I yawn and stretch in front of him. I'll flex my muscles just to annoy him. But it's him I take after. I can't help my genetics, basically. But I don't care. Like, I don't care what other people's opinion is. It's how I feel about myself. And I want to look in the mirror and go, damn, you work out, like, you look good. That's what I want to see. So I have some tweaking to do, and I recognise now that I need to lose some of the fat that I have to be able to show more of the definition that I want, basically.
Okay, I love that. So Carolyn, tell us, I know you've just mentioned it earlier a few minutes ago, but summarise it in a nutshell. What have you learnt about yourself on your journey so far?
That I am absolutely capable of anything that I put my mind to. And yeah, that I can actually do it. I just needed to believe in myself.
Love that. Yeah. And tell us, what's the heaviest weight that you lift at the moment?
With my legs, it's 210 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah, that's quite heavy. And I can do 10 reps of that, but just one set at the moment.
Wow.
Lifting on a deadlift, my heaviest was 95 kilos, but I've not done that for a while now, but 95 kilos was the heaviest.
Goodness me, wow.
And yeah, generally 25 kilos at the moment with arms.
Goodness me. Now that is super strong. Because comparing to me, and I'm still very new on my journey, 100 kg I can press on my legs.
Well done.
So you're double and more. on that. And Carolynn, looking back on your journey, would you do anything differently?
Yes, I would have started weightlifting a lot earlier than what I was. I did do it, like I said, back when I was 19 and I was doing for the Royal Navy. I wish I wasn't so, I don't like the word stubborn. I wish I wasn't a pain and self-sabotaging myself, because if I hadn't have gone in, I wish I would have just kept going. But in hindsight, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't have my husband and I wouldn't have my daughter. So I know that everything happens for a reason. But I really wish I'd started the weightlifting a lot earlier than what I did do, to be honest.
Yeah,
a lot earlier.
I love that. So what advice would you give to somebody just starting out on their health, wellness, fitness journey? Is there one piece of advice you would give them?
Find your people. That would be my best advice. Find your people. Doesn't matter where they're from, whether it's in the gym, whether it's a class, whether it's like a weight loss class, or it's a friend that's, that has similar, like, wants to lose weight with yourself. Whatever it is, it's find your people and know that you can message them, you can talk to them openly and freely, because their whys might be different to losing weight, but ultimately their goal is to be the best version of themselves. That I feel it is. They want to be able to look at themselves and be like, yeah, this is me. And I think that's who you need to find, is the person that you can freely talk to, and keep going, keep that motivation going.
I love that. And I totally agree with you. No man is an island, and we all need support, even just for sharing ideas and bouncing off concerns and encouragement. We need that. Carolynn, this has been the most incredible and awe-inspiring interview. I love it. I feel ready to run down that gym and start lifting some weight. You've really inspired me. You truly have. Where can people find you, Carolynn? And I know that you have a shop on Etsy because you were creative. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I'm not on Etsy anymore. I now have my own website.
Wow.
Yes. So I've upgraded. I've had the website now for, in fact, 2 years now, which is brilliant. So I have my own website. It's called Ollie and Blue. So it's OLLIE and Blue. The reason for that is my daughter's Olivia. We call her Ollie. And her favourite thing when she was little was her blue rabbit. So it's Ollie and Blue. So I've been making everything from earrings to pin badges, poppy pins for the poppy appeal. I've obviously got some Halloween bits and pieces and things. I do some themes. Obviously I'm working on, I hate to say the Christmas word now, but like I am working on Christmas, which is quite terrifying. That is 4 months' time. So I do all of that. You can find me on Facebook, Carolynn Condé, Carolynn with the 2 N's. And on Instagram as well, as it's Carolynn_Condé1. Nice, simple and easy. That's where you can find me. I do, like I said, all my key coaching, all my my weight loss things and everything else, recipes for my ice creams, you name it, it's all posted onto my socials.
Oh, lovely. Well, if that's okay with you, I will get those details and pop them in the show notes if people want to follow you. And why wouldn't you want to follow Carolynn, guys? Go over there and get some inspiration. Carolynn, thank you so much for joining us today. I've thoroughly enjoyed this interview and learning about your amazing journey to date. Thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you to you guys for tuning in and listening. You can find this podcast over on our YouTube channel at Time Out with Angela, or over on Spotify at Time Out for Weight Loss. So check the show notes for all the details, all the links that we've discussed today. And next week, we're going to be back with another fabulous interview. So do come and join us. Thank you so much. And thank you to you, Carolynn. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys. If you're still with us at this point in the episode, thank you so much. You are so appreciated. What I'd love to know is, listening to this podcast episode, what have you learned? What are your takeaways? I'd love to know. come over to our community on Facebook at Time Out with Angela, which is our page, or Time Out for Weight Loss, which is our private Facebook group. Or find me on Instagram at Time Out with Angela, and come and share what you have learned. Send me a message or pop a post in the group. So guys, thank you so much for being here. We will be back with another episode next week, and we look forward to having you join us. If there's one thing you can do for us, is to share this episode with someone that you think may benefit. It may be your family member, your friend, a colleague, a loved one. We would really appreciate if you could do that. And don't forget to like, subscribe as well to the podcast and the YouTube channel. Okay guys, on that note, I wish you a great week, and we will see you soon.